We're talking about firasa, and we said last week that firasa is having the ability. There's firasa which acquired by experience, to have a doctor could spot the disease in somebody by looking at him, or you could spot on people who might be cheating you from what they say, their body language, their subliminal messages and things. Now,
I was going to ask you that, but I forgot. Are there such people around us today?
Yeah, let us hear the stories of people who had the true firasa. Could the true firasa have a spiritual insight? And in fact, as we learned last week, Allah said in the Quran, فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِلْمُتَوَسِّمِينَ, those who have the ability to read the mind of people and hear what has been said from distance. And they are the one who pick the signs of Allah Azza wa Jal. So in the Quran there's a lot of ayah and sign to those who can spot it from distance and spot without talking and read your mind and read your intention, and in fact answer you while you never spoke, but he answered what you had in your mind. And the Prophet ﷺ said here that be mindful of the firasa of mu'min, that his ability to spot the spiritual, we said, insight, because he look with the sight of Allah, with the light of Allah. So Allah make him able to see, like another hadith, I will become his eye, by me he see. You see by the eyes of Allah, you hear by the hearing of Allah, by the ears of Allah, you touch by the hand of Allah, you walk by the leg of Allah. So you are using the gift from Allah. And one of them said, when Allah blew the spirit, one of the spirits he created in Adam, and the spirits carried that ability to have a spiritual ability to read people and read their mind. But because people become so involved and attracted to the worldly life, and there's so many things distracting them, they lose that. You need to really be pure heart, really pure, to be able to read. And we came across when when somebody walked in and he was looking at a woman outside, admired her beauty, and he said the one walked into the mosque with the signs of zina in his eyes. And he said to him, is there a revelation after Rasulullah? He said, no, that's the firasa Allah mentioned and the Prophet mentioned. So he was reading the guy walking, what he was doing. And we had, we read some of the stories last week. And Allah said, people can, when there's news coming, you should refer it to the people who can drive out meaning out of it. They have so much insight, and they read the subliminal messages in between the lines. They say, be careful, he's writing this, but he means that and that and that. So he's usually, don't take people at face values. I need really a lot of wise Muslims and who have spiritual insight, and they are really close to Allah to read what's going on. I remember when my teacher, when Al-Khomeini took over Iran, he met him and he said, either he is like pure Zionist, or he has a very bad intention towards the Sunnis. And war never stopped. 10 years fighting Saddam, and then now fighting in Yemen, fighting in Lebanon, fighting in Syria, fighting everywhere, and inciting all sorts of things. So yeah, they thought, oh, the revolution, they won Iran, but he said, one of these two things. And it wasn't long before everything came to the surface, and the killing started. Now Hezbollah has been killing in Syria right, left and center. There's no mercy at all whatsoever. But my teacher really did tell, and I was in the class, and he said he met him, and he met many people across the globe. Actually, he went to the White House, he went to America, to Russia, he went to the Kremlin, and he was given honorary PhD by Ziaul Haq, in Pakistan, and he was given also a degree in Indonesia. He went, and So he went to a lot of places, and they all admired his skills and ability and his talk and things. But when he met some of them, he went and met. I met him again. I was in Riyadh when he came to Riyadh, actually, and he spoke to the king in Riyadh and things. And so he was quite wide travel. He went to really half the globe, and the important people in the Pope, John Paul at that time, he was really taken by his talk about Islam and things, and said, why don't people talk about Islam like you? So reading the insight of people is not easy, but has to come from Allah Azza wa Jal. And like here we're saying that this guy, Zakaria Shakhtani, he had a woman he loved before he repented and became, attending the class. And a thought came to his mind while he was in the class with Abu Uthman. So Abu Uthman raised his head and said, don't you feel shame to think of her now? Like he is in his mind, reading the mind. And then when Imam Al-Qushayri was the student of Ali al-Daqqaq, and he was working with him, and then it came to his mind that, I hope when I'm away that Sheikh Ali al-Daqqaq, you can do cover for me and run my class. And then Sheikh Abu Ali al-Daqqaq said, I will do your classes when you're away. And then he thought, that might be, actually, one will be probably enough. He's an old man. I said, probably I will do one only. Like if he's reading his mind, answering him while he was just thinking about it. And here he's saying, Shah Kamani had al-firasa la yukhti. He never mistaken. He said to have the firasa, you always lower your gaze, you don't look into haram, and you never touch haram, and you never eat anything haram, and you always follow the sunnah, and you always eat the halal, and then you will have the insight. You start reading people. And so he's saying, Abu Hassan al-Nuri, that comes from the original blow of the soul from Allah to the body of Adam. And that the purity of that soul carry with it that you will become so pure that you can read even the mind of people. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ الرُّوحِ. So he was perfected Adam, blew the spirit into him, and Adam had that ability. He was so capable that Allah ordered the angel to bow down to him. And that's also in nisbah tashrifiyya, that he became honored by Allah Azza wa Jal. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. Allah honored the sons of Adam. And the mutafarris, he gets it right straight away. And فراسة المريدين تكون ظنا يوجد تحقيق، وفراسة العارفين تحقيق يوجب حقيقة. That those who have the knowledge, it is true, it's a reality, it's going to happen. And he said, when you sit with those people who have the firasa, be truthful, because they will uncover you. They will know, and then you drop in their eye. They always be avoiding. And there's nothing opposing it. It's a thought comes and nothing opposes it. No, it's definitely this. It's not like, probably, I don't think, might be. And he said here that Abi Abdullah al-Razi Nazil Naisabu قال Kasani ibn al-Ambari, he gave him a dress of a woolly coat, and he saw a Shibli, and Shibli had a hat of wool. So what he thought, that hat really matched my coat. If he gives it to me, it will be really good. So Shibli came to him and said, give me your coat. He took his hat and burned both. he was reading his thought. He just, So when you are with those who read, they have the firasa, don't mess with them. And ليس لأحد أن يدعي الفراسة ولكن يتقي الفراسة من الغير. You cannot claim to have that ability, but be careful, the others might spot you and expose you. And Abu Abbas ibn Masruq said, دخلت على شيخ من أصحابه. He went to see a scholar, and he found him that he was really dressed, quite poorly, and It doesn't seem, and he thought, a thought came to his mind, where did he get his money to buy his own food? And he said to him, Abu Abbas, he said to me, Abu Abbas, leave these bad thoughts from your mind, because Allah Azza wa Jal take care of his servants. So he was thinking. And there's a guy who went to Iraq, and his teacher said, take these 2 apples. I know Allah will give you something, but take these 2 apples. So 3 days nobody gave him anything. He couldn't find any food, whatever. So he ate 1 apple. Then he walked, and then became hungry. 2 apples still there, so he ate 1. And then until he reached Iraq, he ate an apple, 2 apples still, until he reached Mosul. And in Mosul he found a poor man sitting there. I said, I hope I get a couple of apples. I really like an apple. And he gave him the 2 apples. It seemed like his teacher, he wanted him to take these 2 apples to that guy. And then he retrogradely thought, oh, this is why Allah is replacing the apples. Allah wants the 2 apples to reach the other guy. It's a long story here. We said we'll finish because we had half last week, and we don't seem to be finishing the half anyway. Yeah, this is the apples talking about. And somebody was known to have firasa, and came to Junaid, and he said to Junaid, have a thought in your mind. And then he told him the thought. He said no. Have a second thought. He told him your thought. He said no. A third thought, and he said no. He said, strange, I know you are truthful, and I know my firasa is not false. He said, your firasa is right, but I was trying to test you. You were right the first time, the second time, and the third time. So I was one of those who and then here he knew about the Talhiyin when they went into Mecca, and they stole the Qaramita, stole the black stone. So I was telling his people. And then a guy here, and he meant to see people, and there's one guy who was really smart, dressed well, and he's outspoken, he knows Islam. And then he said, that's a Yahudi, he's a Jew. And then he left, and he told the people, that's a Jew. How will you make him in charge? And then he came back, he said, what did he say to you? What did he say to you? He said, I'll tell you, I said you are a Jew. And he came and he kissed his hand, and he said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. He said, I knew you, the group of people who will have that ability Allah gave you to have the firasa. Sallallahu alayhi Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. So I'm here next week, inshallah.